Alright, are we rolling? Let's see here. Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. I am going to be getting set up for the first couple of minutes, so just enjoy this pleasant background music in the meantime. Or if you're watching this in the future after the stream is over, just skip to when I start working. Until then, I'll be getting things set up on this end. Music here comes courtesy of an old indie game known as Within a Deep Forest, which I believe was made by Niflis before he did the Nick games. Got that there. Gonna check this. Alright, got that. Check back over here. Check over here. And this is always a little necessary setup session you need to do before the stream actually starts. At least with how I do it. I'm sure someone out there has an automated system that does this stuff. Okay, I think I've got everything all set up here. So I should be getting into working on the comic. So welcome everybody to Edward18's latest comic page, page 86 of Heroes and Legends. Hello, Dumbo. How are you doing today? I don't know if you saw, but, given your history with Resident Evil, I have now done Let's Plays of all three of the original Resident Evil games last month, if you would like to look at any of those streams. It was pretty fun to do, but I was pretty Resident Evil'd out after, like, a week straight of doing all of the original games. So now we're working back on the comic here instead. I hope everything's been going well for you these days. I've just been doing the usual, working on everything that I work on. Yeah. I still think 3 is probably the funnest of the Resident Evil, like, original 3. It's kind of odd to me since it's, like, not originally meant to be one of the main games. But it being designed more for the hardcore fans probably lends itself more to that improved gameplay focus. That being said, it's easily the most action-packed of the originals and the least like a traditional Resident Evil experience out of those. This isn't Resident Evil here, this is Doko Rapilzo and the Claw during the final match of the tournament of this comic. Oh well, I hope that everything has been improving for you then, Dumbo. The whole sleep schedule thing has gotten a bit skewed in my eyes with the advent of daylight savings time switchery of the clocks that just happened. I always hate that during the year. It'd be nice if you just never had to mess with it and the clocks just stayed the same all year round. But sadly, that's not how the world works. Not yet, at least. Hopefully in time they will abandon that annoyance. But for now, it's still something to put up with. So much could be done to improve this world. Such as handing out full-sized candy bars instead of candy bars that say they are full-size but really are far smaller than they used to be. I always liked Halloween when I was little, having my birthday right before it and then Halloween right after, and it was like double the sweets. Hello Daniel, how are you doing today? We are working on page 86 of Heroes and Legends, which is comic number 14 of my Dreamscape comic series, starring Doko Rapilzo. Yeah, Doko's a character you can put into any situation, and it'll turn into some big, wacky adventure. Such is the way of idiot heroes. Got a bit of ambient music playing here today. Oh, wait. I just realized, Daniel, you're... Earlier in the stream, I was... Or no, it was in the description I was saying, I hope everyone's getting ready for the feasts on the horizon, but I'm assuming since you're over, in Europe, that doesn't really apply to you for Thanksgiving. Oh, well, at least you can relax now, Daniel. I've played the game that this music is from before, but I don't remember if I beat it. I remember I used to watch Deceased Crab play through it all the time in his, Within a Deep Forest Let's Play that he did, like, I think that was like 16 years ago now, were those videos. Oh, well, that does not at all seem like a viable price for that game to me, Dumbo. I know it's not the price of the game, but to have to spend like $100 to play Resident Evil, that's kind of absurd to me. Although I'm not really one to talk, probably, considering how much I've spent on some games. I know I spent less on Earthworm Jim Special Edition than other people did. Partly because of the time I got it, and partly because of the person selling it not realizing what they had. And then, I forget how much I paid for the Saturn version of Resident Evil 1. It was less than $100, I think, but after that, now it's gone up to like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But I still got it. My favorite version of the original version of 1. I really wanted to play that version for YouTube, but it just was not cooperating well enough. So unfortunately, the audience does not get to see the ticks or the gold tyrant. It's a shame, but at least we weren't playing the DualShock version. Oh, well, I hope the Bonfire Night is a splendid celebration, Daniel. Sounds like it would be nice. Yeah, without Grandma here now, I'm kind of on my own for the holidays. But that's okay. Lets me get work done here and stuff. And more food for me. Nah, lately the stuff I've been doing has just mostly been doing commissions over the last month for that sale. I still have a few left to wrap up, but I've gotten a majority of them done, I'm pretty sure at this point. Which, actually, I think this... well, if I can find it... yeah, this would probably be, I think... this is one of the latest ones. It's... does this... oh, whoa. That is giant. Yeah, there's one of the latest. It is a... it was for... who was it? It was Dane, is his name on Discord. I think he goes by something else on DeviantArt. I think Dane is in the name, though, but this is all his characters. Let's see if I can remember them. This is, I think, Lena, Kai, Joyvana, and Archie. Yep, that's them. They're basically kind of a superhero group in this town called Sirene. And they protect things. Joyvana turns into like a clown superhero that has mysterious origins and stuff. And they just go about protecting things. Yep. It's a fun little time. I think it's Giggiline she turns into. But that's them. Yeah, I think that's like one of the latest ones I've done. Actually, if I can find it. Yeah, this was another one they had me do. That's the hero she turns into. Yeah, just a little sheet I ended up doing for him. Yeah, but that's been 2 of the commissions this last month for the sale. But yeah, that is what I have been up to. Just multiply that by like, I guess 5 times and you'll get how much work I've done for the commissions this last month. It is nice having more people buying stuff. But gotta also work on the comic here. Can't ever let up on that. In the end, everything goes into supporting the stuff that I create of my own ideas. There we go. Yeah, I have to hold the, when I pick the fill bucket tool, here, I'll show. if you press it lightly... Let me see. It's... Well, I guess it's working properly here. Sometimes when you press it lightly, it like leaves a little ring of white around the area, but if you like hold it down, it'll fill it in completely, is what I have found. It's just a little tips and tricks for those working in the program, I guess. Oh, well, you would probably enjoy some of Dane's stuff then, Daniel. He does seem to like his clown girl. Yeah, let me see here. Better not screw everything up by going to another website. Alright, we're good so far. We're good. We're good. Good. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. It's Danio13 is the deviant art name of the person. It's that's their little profile picture, Daniel. Okay. And what I was coming here for was to get fish. Here we go. Alright. This was the other thing that I did, like, the other day. It's a reference sheet for this space station from the 2000s time period of my stuff. It gives a lot of information on something that's always been a part of my stuff, but is not, like, relevant to the comics currently or anything, because it's like, this was made centuries before the comics take place. Oh, there's King Shadow, the guy that these tournaments are named after, and that hosted the first one. Oh yeah, that sounds utterly atrocious, Dumbo. That I would not at all do that deal. Yeah, it kinda sucks how many hoops you have to jump through for certain things in the modern age. That's why I never get rid of my stuff. Well, it's not why I never get rid of it, I just don't get rid of stuff because I like the stuff that I've got. But if you have that stuff to fall back on, you never have to deal with getting the later re-releases of things. Oh yeah, I'll give you whatever afterwards, Daniel. That is no problem. Although I believe he's in the Discord if you want to look. He's, yeah, for anyone, I guess anyone that's watching these streams that isn't, like, a regular viewer, there is a Discord, and various people from here that are in the chat sometimes are on there, if anyone ever wants to go and interact with people and stuff. Obviously don't pester people, but if you just want to hang out, it's a nice old Discordian time. Yeah, bet the main thing here is making the comics. Making the comics and the animations and the moving pictures, what makes people laugh. I did find out today, and I'm not surprised, but I did find out that I don't think they have ever released Tom and Jerry, like, the entire series uncensored and with all the episodes. I'm pretty sure they haven't. but it's just something I heard about today. Again, not surprised by that, but it's always kind of a shame when there's, like, not access to all the stuff that has been created. But obviously you have all sorts of censorship over the decades for things like that. I know Johnny Quest has never been, like, shown uncensored after the original airings of it. Oh, whoa. There we go. Yeah, if I were in charge of Cartoon Network, what I would do is I would put Toonami from 3 to 7. I would make there be new new episodes for shows premiering on Friday nights after Toonami. Saturdays would be like a marathon of one of the newer cartoons. Sundays would be showing cartoons of only a certain era, so for like the 80s or the 70s or the 60s, that's all you'd get for the day. And then weekdays, it would be, you'd have like a normal schedule of various different shows throughout the day until Toonami happens. Adult Swim would be 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. So basically have things set up like how they used to be, and just apply it to the newer shows that are being done now. Oh, and have Cartoon Network City quality commercials. That is an absolute must. This is all a theoretical world that will never happen, but if I were in charge of Cartoon Network, you better believe I would have it set up like that. I'm pretty sure people that worked on the Powerhouse era commercials of Cartoon Network, the ones that were like from before the Cartoon Network City, where it was like the cartoons hanging out at the office and stuff, I'm pretty sure a lot of those people went on to work on Adult Swim. That's what I remember. I'd have to re-look into everything again, though. Yeah, I always had dreams of my stuff having a cartoon channel it would air on. That would all just be like my own stuff on it. Probably have Barbot hosting it or something. See Doko playing in the background during commercial breaks and stuff. Here. Okay. Let me see here. Yeah, this over here. This is Barbot. He is the first hero that I ever made up for my stuff. I made him back in 1997, as well as King Shadow, the main villain of my old stuff. They're both from the late 90s, 2000s time period of the timeline of the world that my comics take place in. These comics themselves are like in the 2300s, I think. So it's hundreds of years after the King Shadow Barbot Freaks stuff. Barbot and King Shadow were the main driving force behind the conflicts of that era. And without them, the world the comics take place in would not exist, story-wise. They are very, very big components of the history of the world. Yeah, by this point, though, a lot of that stuff is only really looked into by historians and people that pass around legends of that time period. Although it usually gets overshadowed by the war that takes place after, like, starting in 2008 and lasting until the mid-2020s. Which King Shadow and Barbot are both part of that, but the focus is less on their conflict with each other and more on another force that is present during that time. I think up too much stuff. Forever thinking, forever creating. Yeah, there was Barbot was the leader of the heroes, and then there was Mutant Kid, who started out as part of King Shadow's team, but ended up helping Barbot later. There's Mechanica, who is like the only real-world ethnicity character of the group, who is a girl from America that's a super genius. And then there's Claw Kid, who is most likely this guy, except far younger back then. And they were the freaks. They would always save the world from the forces of King Shadow. Then King Shadow had Shalanda, I think she was a biologist, Dr. Jack Kite, who was the mechanical guy of the group, made all the robots. And sometimes they would have Masks on their side, he looks kinda like the old sage that takes care of Doko. And they'd have the most frequent help by Jake Diabolical and Angel Amy, who were the original Diabolic Angel duo, which are the ancestors of Rascal Diabolical and Sprite Diabolical, the pirates that are always ending up in conflict with Doko and his friends in the comics. Jake and Amy are about as dumb as Rascal is. Just kinda double Rascal and lessen the ferocity he seems to think he has at times. Yeah, I'd always think of Jake and Amy as two halves of one whole moron. Oh yeah, you were doing Resident Evil 7 a bit over there, Dumbo. That was a while back, though, from what I remember of the videos. Yeah, I remember that was like Well, it wasn't a while back. I think it was like right before Resident Evil 4's remake came out. I saw you playing it again. Yeah, because I remember, wasn't that where I was talking about Code Veronica during that stream? I think that's where I was. Let me see if I can... Oh. Okay, there it is. I was just trying to pull something up here. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this... Let me see here. There's a lot of... Can I grab this? Or is this all gonna freeze up because I'm clicking this? Oh no, we're okay, we're okay. Does this work? No. I was trying... Okay, here we go. And no, the very difficult modes of Resident Evil, Capcom always makes very challenging stuff to go through if you select, like, the specified higher difficulties, Dumbo. This is what I was trying to get to. And this, since I was remembering talking about Code Veronica during your stream there, this is some concept art of Alexia from Code Veronica, which I don't think they were really, like, wholly decided on a name at that point, so they kinda list her as Veronica. She started out as, like, Hilda, I think, was her original concept names. If I can... Okay. Oh. Yeah, this should... Yeah, this is it. Yeah, because they had it so that she was going to start out as a young girl, and then she would, like, morph into a more adult form. And this was the idea for, like, the initial young Alexia, or Hilda, as she's called in that. Such is the life of an adventurer. Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff that they go through throughout the development process of that series. Oh. Get this out of the way. Copy dish. Oh, nope, not that. There we go. Yeah, there's concept pieces of all the main characters of Code Veronica. And yes, this was ideas they had for Steve. Thank God he went through some development in the production of the game. There's Satoshi Kon's wonderful sketches. He was always a very wonky kind of concept artist to me when it came to human characters. Does great monsters, though. Yeah, Satoshi Kon, I believe that's his name. Let me see here. Oh no, it's Satoshi Nakai. That was it. Yeah, he was always a wonky human designer to me, but when it came to monsters, he was pretty great. He had, he was technically like freelance for Capcom, but he was basically the main concept artist for Zero and Code Veronica. He'd propose things during like meetings and stuff, and various ideas for like Zero and Code Veronica, like monster-wise, was from him. He made the Bandersnatches kind of as sort of a, sort of the role for Lickers for Code Veronica, the extendable appendage to attack you with kind of thing. Then he was thinking of the T-002 when designing the T-007, or the T-078 in Code Veronica. It ended up turning out as a T-103 variant, though, in the end. If you cannot tell by this point, Edward is very, in-depth in the stuff that he knows about various series. Now the stylus is not... It's getting a bit, more jittery in the line work. I can only assume that's because I've been opening various other programs on here during the stream. Oh wow, we're already over half an hour in, and we don't even have the first panel done. That's wonderful. That just means we get an extra long stream today. Maybe if I, like... No, if I was thinking if I, like, speed along with, the line drawings, it'll make it look more like my normal, like, physical drawings. And it might, but that'll kind of mess up the fill bucket when I decide to use it later, because it'll be trying to calculate around the breaks in the lines that would be there from the lots of sketching strokes and stuff. So it's better to just keep it smooth. This were just me drawing and like just some void, like some new sheet and not filling things in, then I could just go wild and just do all sorts of line work. But here, where it's like editing and refining something, you gotta be a bit more careful at times. Yeah, I usually pause for like about 2 minutes for a break during the longer streams, Dumbo. I know for 1 or 2 of those Resident Evil streams, I just played like I sat there for like 6 entire hours without any break. But I rarely ever do that. I usually need to take a break at least halfway through. And then there's the breaks for phone calls and stuff like that. It'd be nice at some point to play an online party game on stream or something. I don't really have anyone to do that with, though. Yeah, I just like watching party crashers and stuff do all their things all the time. They're all the party I usually need. Although now that Minecraft, all Hermitcraft people have started up that new Life series. That's what I've been spending a number of days watching while I work. It is kind of hilarious to see Etho and Cleo get together after their quote-unquote divorce in that previous Life series. Etho has been playing Minecraft, like, I think practically ever since it came out. Because I remember him in, like, the really early days. Obviously, the first real big one was, like, X Minecraft. That whole journey during the, original release of the game. After that, though, it was, like, Minecraft and, Etho, Vintage Beef, Pause on Pause, Dwarves versus Zombies, all that stuff. I still watch through that stuff sometimes. It's always fun to see. I did have a massive multiplayer online game planned for, the time period of the world of the comics here. Like, the 2000... I think it was the 2100s or 2200s. That would show, like, things after society had started rebuilding after the war. And it would have you play as, like, various different types of characters, like soldier, sniper, whatever, that type of thing, just in the, world as it's, like, a hyper-advanced world that is devolving back into civil wars and stuff after things have been rebuilt and made better and everything. It helped to fill in some of the gaps of, like, the history leading up to the world that the comics take place in. But I always figured if I ever got to that point, that game would be made, like, decades from now. But we'll see how the franchise goes. Professor Velderock would be a part of it. Oh yeah, I've seen the trailers for Dragon Ball Daima and Dumbo. Kind of odd to me, them putting focus on Bobbity. That was unexpected. Nice to see, though, compared to, like, other things that they've felt the need to just constantly do over and over the years in the past decade for the franchise. Yeah, Bobbity's not as prominent of a figure as others. Yeah, best stuff of Dragon Ball's still Red Ribbon or Piccolo Daimyo to me. That will always be the best. I can actually show the best part of the entire series. Dragon Ball Banana. Yeah, here we go. This is the best moment of Dragon Ball. All of it in, like, Frieza, Cell, whatever, that can go to hell. If I have this, I am okay. This is the best part of the entire series. Love that climax. Yeah, Piccolo Daimyo has always been like the absolute best to me. The whole build-up and everything, and it relating to the Dragon Balls and all that. Just perfect encapsulation of the series. Oh. And you don't have any of that Goku sparing bad guys nonsense that they do later. Yeah, Goku is a character that gets worse and worse to me as the series goes on. But before they start doing the whole I just want to fight and that is all that my character is, before that, he is the best character of the series to me. Oh. Yeah, it's always kind of odd to me talking, like, listening to people talk about Dragon Ball, like, the franchise when they're first getting into it, if they're newcomers. Because they'll always talk about Dragon Ball and Z as if they're like two separate things, when it's really just one series with a name change at a part. They always feel like they have the notion that Z was made as like, as being a separate series in mind or something like that. Causes a lot of... well, I guess a lot of things that would be obvious jumps in conclusion to, like, the normal person, but to me it's like, it makes them think odd things about how the franchise was handled story-wise. It's something that, I guess, just how I've grown up, it's different than how a lot of people see the franchise. I will always love the original stuff, though. The original manga comic run. And the animated stuff that was done of that part of the story is always going to be, like, the material that I consider the necessary stuff for the series, just that time period. Anything afterwards, GT, Super, Daimas, whatever, that's just supplemental stuff, but the actual main story is the comic, the original run of it. Although I can't do Gohan in Piccolo's training during the Saiyan Saga without the filler that the anime puts in, because unless you have what the anime does, that part is pretty damn boring. It's like, okay, he's training, and now he's done training, and that's it. And that is not how you do an adventure at all. Toriyama's good for, like, getting to the point, but the anime did a lot of stuff that improved parts of the story that he just kinda, okay, well, I'm going to do this here now, and all that stuff that was talked about just happens off screen. That is just bleh. Thankfully, the anime, until Namek, usually handled the filling in of the jumped over parts pretty well. This is Edward's thoughts on Dragon Ball. If people did not get enough of that in his review of Dragon Ball. I did love making that review. It was so much fun making all the animations for it. Took forever, but that's animation. Actually, if I can look it up, I have... Let's see here. No, not that. There we go. Yeah, let's see. If we do this... Yeah, for... Here it is. I think. Yeah, here we go. This was one of the animations I did for the Dragon Ball review. I was wondering how I would end up handling lunch there. She turned out pretty good, I think, considering how fast I was trying to do the animations. I didn't want the review to take like over a year like the Bionicle one, so I was trying to speed through the animations for that review, but I also didn't want them looking bad, so I did put as much as I could into the review and stuff, like animation-wise. Yeah, it's always a lot of work, but it's always so much fun to see the end result. Okay, I got that there. Go back here. Go over here. I did see the Dragon Ball Super Hero movie. I saw that, like, I think before it came out in America. Unless it came out at the same time as in Japan, but I, like, saw... I saw a camcorder, like, a video recording someone did of the movie, the Japanese version, in a movie theater with, like, subtitles. So it was, like, very hard to see and, like, see what the characters were saying, but I did see it when it came out. It was a bit of a fun experience. Other than, like, skipping over to Goku and Vegeta training, that was just kind of dull, but other than that, it was kind of fun. Yeah, a lot of the Dragon Ball movies fall into the trap of just repeating what the actual main stuff does, just with shinier paint and stuff. When it comes to the movies, the best ones are always going to be like Dead Zone and World's Finest. It has some repeated elements of like Piccolo and Gohan and stuff like that, but it's always, those ones have like the best animation and the best stories to them. Oh wow, you got both sides of the fusion there then, Dumbo. I have like a chibi figure of, Vegito. It's, I used to order, like, figures from Japan and stuff, so I've got various gashapons and everything here. And my favorites are, like, the robot pirate one that I have, where it's, like, holding on to Goku's leg with its tail. And my dad got me, like, this really awesome, creepy Piccolo Daimyo figure. I always wanted them to do more figures of, like, the tournament announcer and stuff. You better believe that once this franchise gets big, you will have a tournament announcer figure for Doko's stuff. With adjustable, extendable, retractable robot eyes to move back and forth in his head. Yeah, Doko's figure will probably let you flip his goggles, like, down from up over his head onto his face. Yeah, it's always nice to see things make a comeback, Dumbo. All depends on, like, the popularity of something in the current time period. They made a bunch of Bionicle figures and that got big again, you better believe they'd be back on the shelf also. Of course, in Japan, they always have Dragon Ball on the shelf. That is an ever-present occurrence there, no matter how big or small the series is at the time. Alongside Pokemon and Sailor Moon and Gundam, Japan always has such a better focus on, like, entertainment and stuff, and just advertising the things that bring joy to the youth. Or not just the youth, the people in general. It's just that in America, everything's so damn boring. America I always saw as sort of just dumbing down whatever came from other countries. Like, there is nowhere near, like, the emphasis on fun and toys and games as in Japan. And all the food that comes to America ends up getting Americanized into nearly unrecognizable forms at times. It's a melting pot, but it's also a diluting pot sometimes. Yeah, for me, my parents had stuff from Japan, Dumbo, so I never really, I think, paid attention to the lessening of Dragon Ball figures in America. Because, like, we had Tapion, we had Perfect Cell, we had these walkie-talkies of Final Form Frieza and Super Saiyan Goku and stuff. And it was all, like, figures and boxes from Japan that we had. And then once I was able to buy stuff, I noticed that there wasn't stuff in America, and I always figured, well, there has to be better figures out there than the few that I do see in America. So I just went on eBay, and I went looking, and it's like, oh, there's like a whole planet full of toys that are not in America, so I guess I'll just order them. And that's pretty much how I've been able to keep up to date on the higher quality of figures for Dragon Ball. Oh good, I'm not the only one that remembers those walkie-talkies. Yeah, since we had the Japanese ones, I always figured that, well, I say it in the Dragon Ball review video, but I always figured since it's like Final Form Frieza was what we saw from Japan, like with the figures and stuff, I figured that the first form of Frieza, since that's all they showed in the reruns here, was the American form of Frieza. So, like, I thought that they had created a form that they drew into the show in the American version of the show. And I thought, that the first form was the American form, and that for some reason they were trying to, like, not show the Japanese form, which is what I thought the final form of Frieza was. I had no idea that he transformed before they got to that part in the English version. Then once he did transform, it's like, oh, I'm a moron. That being said, third form was always the best form to me. Third or second? Second always looked like the most intimidating, and third always looked the scariest. Story-wise, it doesn't really make much sense why he even goes through the second or third form. You'd think he'd just go straight to the final form. But then they wouldn't really have as much to, like, excite the audience with if they just skipped that stuff. We've been listening to this music for quite a while now. Now, we are not even done with the top half of the page here. Doko is taking quite a while to color in on this one. That is the curse of having a character that has half of his design as the color black. When you're editing comic pages in the ways that I edit them. I know there has to be quicker ways to do this stuff, but I've never been able to figure out how to do it any faster. Lots of experimenting over the decade, but this is the quickest way I have found. If I could make these pages without doing the editing process on the computer, then I'd be getting them out like every other day, if not every day sometimes. Because I can get these pages done within like a day if I try, and don't do anything else. But usually 2 days, if I'm, like, going at a normal pace. Now, I'm not Jack of the King Kirby. Can't do, like, an entire comic book in a week. But most people don't do that. Oh well, at least you finally got the figures of those then, Dumbo. I'm pretty sure your current self would beat your past self in that skirmish. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know if my past self interacted with my modern self. You'd probably be surprised to see that these comics have been going. Other than that, though, you'd probably leave things well enough alone, because I've always been someone that has been of the mind that, if a past version, like if I went to the future and saw the future, I would not try to, like, or if I saw a past version of myself, I would not try to, like, interfere with that any more than I needed to, because that could have repercussions on things. And with how I am, I know that my past self would understand that, like, it's a whole time travel thing, and we would both be in agreement with each other on pretty much any decision that's made. Someone that's always been very considerate of the different outcomes to more bizarre circumstances to things. I think about things that people probably usually do not. Though if you've been seeing all my videos and streams and stuff, you hear plenty of the things I ramble about, which probably makes it not as much of a surprise as with other people for the audience. I used to, when I was working in the factory, I would sometimes spend hours just like thinking up, looking over the layout of the area and thinking of how to like survive if like a bear was to get into the facility, or if there was a terrorist attack or a zombie outbreak or something like that. Yeah, I just am always thinking of things. Edward18 is an individual prepared for any situation. Shave this off a bit. There we go. Oh. I thought I made the entire underside of this column black. No, I was going to go over it in black on the computer anyway. Go. So how about that daylight shavings time? Has that screwed up anybody's schedule out there? I do not like it, but it hasn't really screwed anything up for me yet. Yeah, daylight savings time is something I can't wait to have disappear eventually. Just an annoyance is all. We get to the New World Order and an entire different time is put in place of what we have now. Instead of 24 hours, it'll be 36 hours. Gotta make it as inconvenient for the populace as possible. I hope you all have been enjoying this wonderful ambient track from within a deep forest. I think I still have that game on my other computer. It's one of the few games I could get running on that computer. Oh, I think I see someone on the outside of the window of the building here. I believe they are cleaning the exterior of the building. Although the blinds are closed, so they cannot see me as far as I'm aware. I do see blurs of orange on the outside, though. Okay, we've got Doko's hair here. Thank God. Okay, there. Mr. Hero is practically complete in that panel. Yeah, for Trunks there, the story of Trunks, the future story where he, like, comes from the past and then goes back and saves the future, is, I believe it was made after after Toriyama did the Cell stuff, but it ended up, like, it didn't have, like, an official place in the comic. So whenever you're looking through the comic, they always choose, like, different places to put it. So, like, in the Kanzenban version, it's like you get done reading the entire series, like, it ends and, like, they beat Boo, and then you get the history of Trunks' story. But in the other versions, sometimes they leave it out entirely. Because it's, like, not really necessary at all. And it's not, like, an official, like, it doesn't have a part of the chronology in the comic issues. But usually they work it in somewhere, either towards the end or in between Cell and Boo for the releases. The anime version is far superior, as they make it like an actual story in that version. In the original version, it's basically just, oh, well, Gohan gets killed, Trunks goes to the past, Trunks comes back. That's basically it. But the anime makes it a lot more emotional and stuff. Come for the commission showings, stay for the Dragon Ball talk. Yep, I knew there was the lake to do down here. Yeah, we're almost done with this panel. Just gotta get the Claw's eyes after this. And now I believe the people that were working on the exterior of the building have moved away to another part of the building because I cannot see the blurred smudges that represent them behind the blinds now. Does anyone have a favorite modern Cartoon Network show? Personally, I don't see too many of the shows now. But I would either have to go with Steven Universe or Infinity Train. Usually Infinity Train. Although I haven't seen the final season of that show. And I haven't ever seen, like, Adventure Time, though I have, like, half of it. I've not ever seen much of regular show. I've not seen, like, OKKO, but I have that show. I just never have time to see anything with how much I'm working on stuff. I usually like what I do see, but I just don't usually got the time. Then there's Bee and Puppy Cat. I have, like, the pilot of it, but I know they turned it into a series later. I think the pilot is, like, basically an entire season. Alright. Gotta make this all black up here to show the shadow underneath the stone lip of the wall. Here we go. Always remember to bring snacks when you stream, folks. Can't do this on an empty stomach for hours on end. I mean, you can, but it's not gonna be pleasant. Yeah, I kinda haven't had time to really look at a lot of Cartoon Network stuff in modern times, Daniel. I do stay up to date on what comes out, I just don't see all the stuff. Like, I've seen a few episodes of Owl House, but the last Disney show I saw entirely was Amphibia, which is arguably the best Disney show ever made to me. And I want to see more of The Ghost and Molly McGee, but again, never have time, so. Very nicely animated show with that one. And then here we got Doko just bashing the Claw's cheek in. Another very painful expression for this fight. It's suitable. It is the final match of the tournament. Doko is not somebody that you will want to get hit by. He is very liable to break normal people's bones and stuff in an actual fight. But the Claw has seen his fair share of action throughout his life. This is not at all the first time he's experienced pain. Yeah, with characters like Samurai Jack and stuff, they go through quite a bit of physical aggravation throughout their journeys. But as it goes on, they become accustomed to it and adapt to that occurring more frequently. It's kind of the same deal with the Claw. Just a life of experiencing all that he's experienced kind of desensitizes someone to the occurrences of physical pain. Either way, though, it looks very, very uncomfortable. I keep forgetting I have a mug of, like, this pecan milk over here. For my birthday, Mom sent me the, this nut grinding milk machine. So, you just put whatever nuts that you want to in it, and it makes milk out of them when you add water. It is pretty nice. I put in a little sugar to make it so that it's not just the bitter nut is all. At some point I want to get around to making, like, proper videos of those Let's Play streams I did. It'd take a lot of work to do them all, but it would be great to, like, make, like, an actual sort of show out of them. Put in bits of Edward animated to, like, show his actual playing of the games and stuff like that. The Pikmin 2 videos remain the longest videos I've ever done in anything. I never have played Pikmin 3, but I don't really have a way to play it. Trying to remember who was the person that was talking about Transformers on my birthday. I think it was Nice Buzai. It's kind of annoying looking back at that birthday video, and like, the whole stream, the chat had to like, be gotten rid of because of the whole copyright thing. I figured once that whole suspension thing was going on, I probably should save the chat manually just in case, so I still have it on Discord and everything for people to look at. But it is kinda sad to not have the responses actually showing up in the video itself now. Oh, I can hear them working outside now. I assume that's the people that were working on the exterior of the building. Long as I don't get any noise complaints of disrupting their work, that's all that matters. Though it'd be kinda dangerous to try and get my attention from their point of view, since I would kinda have them hanging off the side of the building. So they'd probably just go about their business and let the tenants do whatever they're doing on the inside. Not bother with the hassle. Oh yeah, they're back. I can see the shadows now. Or they're like, no, they're like right outside the window. I thought they might be above me. But I can see the color in the window now. A wonderful streaming day with our guest star, a random smudge on the window that is doing the cleaning. The most important Edward18 character in the streaming lore. Yeah, I'll just imagine it's like some mechanical type of character that Edward has working on keeping the facility he operates from maintained or something. That or some janitor character that goes around the world that he's on to just do things for people. I'd always come up with various worlds in the universe that Doko stuff takes place in that are just kinda cartoony fun things. Like, just have like a rock out in space that has buildings on it, and maybe maybe a gateway with like a temple beyond that. And then just have a waterfall that drops off of the landmass into outer space. And then maybe because of the gravitational pull, it'll bring the waterfall back around to the underside where the water gets put back into the cave system that leads up to the pond that it's at. Yeah, that is a staple Edward18 world if I ever saw one. There's all sorts of stuff like that out in outer space in the universe that Doko's stuff takes place in. But we haven't ever gotten off of Earth in the comics, so the audience has never seen any of that stuff. Oh, that sounds delicious, Dumbo. I hope it's good. I'll probably make, what should I make tonight? I'll probably maybe rice and pork, an egg, some onion, some asparagus maybe, and then maybe a piece of toasted bread to go with it. Or I'll just make a microwave pizza. But, one option sounds a lot better than the other, but the other takes a lot less work. And depending on how long and how much work goes into the comic page here, will probably determine what I have to eat. Although I did make brownies the other day, so I still have brownies that I can munch on. I do like brownies, but I haven't had them that often. I'm usually someone... I don't ever, like, get fast food or anything. I always make my own meals, and then occasionally will do something in the oven. Let's see. So that's there. Maybe show a bit of the strap here that goes over the chest. I saw the other day a video of these people that were remaking Lego Island, which looks very incredible, but I didn't see the entire video, so I don't know how much they've remade of it. Lot of blood here. Yeah, if this were a well-known comic book series, probably have all the parents up in arms with the amount of violence that is going on in this match. No death yet, though. That is against the rules. Oh, that sounds very wonderful, Dumbo. I would like if I did not have to, like, make any of the food myself. But then yeah, it'd be nice, but you gotta do it to be able to eat. Mainly, it just gets irksome how it, like, cuts into my time that I could be doing, like, creating more stuff is all. If I were, like, financially secure and did not have to worry about anything, then I could spend however long I wanted making food and stuff. I like making apple cider, but that takes, like, hours and hours to do. Tastes delicious, though. And we have the ill-seen cameraman. Pops up from time to time on the right side of the arena here. Despite being in the far, far future, they are still using a giant box camera. Always feels like the type of camera that should be in a televised event setting. Erase it a bit. There you go. Ah. I woke up pretty sleepy today. I'm going to chalk that up to the daylight savings time. Anything that you want to blame on the daylight savings time is a valid thing to blame on daylight savings time. Late for work, it's daylight savings time. Missed that meeting, it's daylight savings time. World War III started, it's daylight savings time. There's a lot of internet horror stories. I guess these days mostly just always call it creepypastas, but various ones of those that deal with like a new world war or something starting, or the end of the world because of a war. And I know throughout history there have been, like, very odd reports of things during the World Wars, like strange animals or creatures being encountered and stuff. I'm pretty sure it's during, like, World War II or the Cold War that it's, like, there's a object that some soldiers were following in a plane that just like shot up into the sky at an impossible speed, never to like be seen again and stuff. This world is a world of mystery and wonder. Some mysteries never to be solved, probably. But as long as they don't interfere with what I'm doing, I'm fine. There can be whatever ghosts and aliens there wanna be. As long as they don't get in the way of my work. If they do, they're gonna have some problems. Yeah, you wanted to do your little alien invasion, but Edward kinda wanted to keep doing his comics, so you're gonna have to die now. Oh yeah, there's obviously things that will arise from all the stuff that has been poured into the atmosphere over the decades, Dumbo. I think one of the things I read about recently, well, it's not a recent thing, but like that I found out about recently, is apparently in the Himalayan mountains, people believe that they have seen Rolangs out there, which is a type of zombie, and it's like on tours and stuff. The tour guides, people will sometimes see like figures standing out in the distance in the Himalayan mountains, and when they're pointed out, the tour guides will just say, like, those are just Rolangs, ignore them, and then just keep having the tourists move along the mountain, is all. Which is kind of a mixture of shocking and funny to me. I don't believe those are the types of zombies that, like, eat people. They're just, like, undead. Like, they'll probably kill you, but I don't think they're, like, the infectious George Romero-inspired zombies. They're more the voodoo type of zombies. And Doko here is, his arm, this one, is the one that he is not able to use now. I didn't do any of the blood on it, because I was, like, trying to figure out if, like, if he's coming from this direction and dropping down, the blood would actually be coming off of the back of the arm because of the dropping movement. But you can't really see that from this angle, so I just left the blood off of the arm in this panel. Yeah, those world wars had quite a bit of hazardous environments that were being created during it, Dumbo. Now, there's certainly things that, well, we've probably seen various things, like various species over the years, but there's certainly ones that we have only seen, like, 1 or 2 instances of that people think are probably, like, just made-up creatures and all that. I'm fairly certain there are certain species that haven't been, like, known about in the public eye that are, like, probably underground or in cave systems or something like that. Then if you get into the missing 411 cases, that shows a ton of stuff that's, like, very questionable to, like, what exactly happened here. And the whole, how did this person end up here, or where did this person go in, like, this few seconds that someone was turned away from them type of thing, when they're out in the middle of nowhere in, like, a forest or something. Remains either never show up again, or they only find, like, a shoe or something of them. Yeah, you never know what you're going to run into out there. Oh, I'm actually near where Mothman would have been. Over here in the great wonderful land that we call Ohio. The most wonderful place on the planet. All our chemical trains exploding and stuff. Yeah, the Mothman was always one of the more interesting ones to me. It was like, there were so many reports of it that it feels like there had to be something that was, like, being seen consistently by people. It feels like it had to have been more than just, like, barn owls that people were misinterpreting. But then all the sightings just stop all of a sudden. very bizarre. The Hopkinsville goblins are also a pretty interesting one. The whole family that, like, was very trustworthy and stuff just encounters those things, and no one quite knows what exactly went on there. It's things that only the people that were a part of it will ever know the full story of. If anyone knows the full story of everything. Obviously, the creatures themselves are what would know the full story, and most of those aren't exactly going to sit down for an interview. Yes, you see, I came to this part of your planet looking for Tachyon 5 particles. There was this guy with a gun, so I turned the defense systems on and blasted off. But apparently you guys put him in an insane asylum afterwards. Not quite sure why your reaction was that way. I was just kind of stopping by on my way to Mars. Oh, the Flatwoods monster turns up in everything, Dumbo. It's in Majora's Mask, but it's in all sorts of other video games also. There are gray aliens in Doko's universe. Put them in kind of as just like they're the ones everyone talks about, so may as well throw them in. Yeah, with everything that goes on during the 2010s and 2020s in the timeline of my stuff, obviously Area 51 has to come into play during that time period with, like, the war affecting every single part of the planet. Very, very bad times. The aliens that are in Area 51 are kind of afraid because they know what is attacking the planet, and they themselves have know, like, the dangers that that brings to a world. Yeah, cryptids are always pretty interesting to go through and research, Dumbo. And I've certainly spent my fair share of time looking through things over the decades. The, Doug Tenaple, the guy that did Earthworm Jim, also does a comic called Bigfoot Bill that starts out as a, the first comic of it starts out in a cryptid facility where they keep all the cryptids that have been captured by the government. Then there's a huge breakout and all the cryptids get out, and it deals with things after that with, like, Poseidon gathering up various cryptids to, like, put his agenda into motion and everything. And then Bigfoot Bill sort of getting into the mix, getting in the way of those plans alongside government operatives and stuff. And you can see Earthworm Jim in one of the panels during the breakout. He's just casually walking out of the facility. They were actually going to make a game of Bigfoot Bill at one point, It wouldn't have been like a big game or anything, sort of just this Flash-esque game that'd be for like the fans of the comic, but it never ended up getting like fully made or anything. Doug only ever showed it off in like one of the streams he did working on the comic. And that video is long gone at this point, so as far as I know, you cannot find footage of it anymore. Now, there is always a surplus of people that are either have encountered that type of stuff or claim to have encountered that type of stuff. A lot of times, a lot of the stories do not feel true, but every so often you will come across one that makes you scratch your head and think. What is making me scratch my head is how long this comic making stream is going to take. We're not that far into it, I don't think. Oh, hello, Shadow. How are you doing? You can jump on into the cryptid conversations that are going on. Yeah, we just got page 86 here, Doko being, or of Heroes and Legends being made. Guess I'll zoom out for those that are joining in, show a more proper look at things. Yeah, just more of the match. Yeah, we're about over halfway done with this. Very painful imagery. Trying to remember, is the Goat Man the one that, like, is sort of like a Skinwalker Dumbo? Seem to remember that being the case. Oh, and I do know Shadow the Cartoonist here has also seen the trailer for Dragon Ball Daima. Yeah, as far as I know, they only have one trailer of that so far. But I'm sure there's other footage that's been shown at, like, conventions and stuff. Yeah, a show that deals with quite a bit of folklore in modern times is Hilda, which I'm trying to remember which region that is. And it deals with all the like trolls and elves, fairies type of things, but sort of just making a cartoony fun world out of that. Oh, well, I am sorry about that, Shadow. I assume you do not have the library thing going on? Yeah, it's just hang in there. Things will pop up. I just put in an application the other day for, what is it? Is it... I want to say it's TJ Maxx, but I don't think it is. It's some store that has, like, just various things in it to sell. I just remember people making a Goat Man creepypasta years ago, Dumbo, and it had, like, the ability to shapeshift and stuff in it. But regardless of everyone's employment status, we at least have Doko's comics here to help lighten the mood and pass the time. The ever-present hero. Yeah, during the war, during the 2010s and 2020s, the cryptids of the world in Doko's universe actually all gather together to, like, try and survive the war that's going on. And by the end, they are, like, helping out the other inhabitants of Earth and everything, since, like, by that point, everybody has to work together. Normal people, vampires, mummies, Bigfoot, werewolves, everyone. It's sort of a fight for survival at that point. Though Mothman, sadly, is not with them, as it is captured by the observers and used by them. They modify Mothman for their purposes. That war is the darkest part of the timeline of my stuff. It's very disastrous. I think it starts the year that Obama becomes president, if I remember right. It's 2008 is when the war starts. And he just, I guess, enters presidency just to have America get destroyed. America's together for a few years, but eventually every nation on Earth gets wiped out, pretty much. Uh-oh. Did not want that. Need to close this up a bit. Oh, that's not what I... Here. There we... No. There we go. And of course, you're gonna do that again. Okay, there. You're all nice and sealed up now. Always gotta make sure you have your objects all enclosed in lines before you fill it in. And here you can see the claw is like, he's spinning around from where Doko punched him. And then, as he's spinning around, his leg is getting into position to counter, or not counter, but get back at Doko by giving him a kick to the face to make up for the punch to the face that Doko gave him. Yeah, the claw, he knows how to fight. And he knows how to withstand damage. I think, that depends on your interpretation of the creatures, Dumbo. You could take it as Goatman being like a literal goat, or you could take it as, Goatman being a creature that is like a goat in appearance. That may play a factor into who would win in that confrontation. The Chupacabra always felt like it'd be more of a spindly, easier to break opponent to me than Goatman. So even if it's a goat, it feels fitting to me that the Goat Man would kind of just crush the Chupacabra. I want to say that Dexter's Laboratory had a Chupacabra at one point. Yeah, because I think Dee Dee lets it out and it gets to like an island or something. Ba 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 ba. You know what I need? I need a slice of bread. And thankfully, I have a loaf of bread that I brought over to sit next to me for just such an occasion. Here we go. This will go nicely with the pecan milk that we have here. Muy delicioso. Stay hydrated. Stay sustained. Make sure you have snacks and water or some other liquid to consume during your streams. I still don't know how some of those people just stream for like over a week straight. Like, doing nothing else besides streaming. Feels like it'd be either very unhealthy or the person would be a literal machine. Edward says, as he's done 7-hour streams before. I did hear that apparently if you go over 12 hours in your stream, the stream will be deleted afterwards. The video will not be available. So it's sort of a little time limit you have to keep in mind. Although it's kind of absurd to get to that amount of time recorded to begin with. But I know there's events that go on forever. Bum, bum. Bum. Oh, if you like cryptids and folklore and everything, then you would love Gravity Falls, Hilda, Secret of Kells, all sorts of stuff. Boom, boom. Where is it? Over here. No, no, no. Trying to get... No, not that. Here. Okay. Yeah, there. Okay. Yeah, here we go. I would highly recommend Dish Book Series when it pops up. There we go. That one. This is a comic series that Luke Pearson did that has since been made into a show and is going to have a final season this year. But the book series, I don't know if the book series is ending, but it deals with a lot of folklore and everything for European type stuff. It's, I forget what area specifically, but it's like just trolls and everything like that. Very magical and fun. And then, of course, of course, there's also this, The Secret of Kells movie, which is one of the latest things that I made a music video of on my YouTube here. If anyone goes to the video section of the channel. Very wonderful Irish movie magical thing. There's a lot of just a wonderful art piece in animated movie history. They have also, that company that made that movie also did like Song of the Sea and Wolfwalkers, I think was the name, and stuff like that. I think they've only done like 4 or 5 movies, but everything they make always looks incredible. Alright, we got the kick winding up, and then we got the kick kicking here. Just make tiny pupils for Doko to show the exaggeration in the pain he is feeling. Yeah, Doko is not used to fighting somebody that can fight to this level. The old sage is someone that can, but when it comes to people that are like not training him and stuff, he is not used to having to fight an opponent that can go this hard in a match. As the Claw, he just got decked in the face, and he immediately just spins right back around and does the same to Doko. And then Doko, he ends up spinning around from the kick, and that sends him right into the Claw's elbow here, and that bounces him off the ground into the air towards the outside of the ring. Munching on bread. It is such a good thing that we have bread that exists in our world. Oh, we're only at 2 hours. That's kind of surprising to me. Thought we'd be going for longer. Oh yeah, they reference Slender Man in Gravity Falls Dumbo. They don't call it Slender Man, but it's very obviously a Slender Man parody. I think that's in one of the Dipper's shorts, not one of the actual episodes. When I first saw Slender Man, I was just thinking, that's Cabadath. Why are they ripping off of Cabadath? And the something awful Cryptid experiment. Just making Slender Man to see if they could make an urban legend, and then it actually worked. I have to think that Cabadath had to have been one of the primary things they were, like, getting for inspiration for Slender Man, though. Appearance-wise, obviously Cabadath is, like, far scarier to me than Slender Man ever was. The Slender Man, you at least, like, have a chance of surviving. You just don't understand what exactly it's about. With Cabadath, you're pretty much assuredly going to die. It's kind of... It was always pretty cool and crazy to me that Yahtzee, the guy who would be a video game reviewer, made, like, all of those games himself that, like, Cabadath was a part of. That was so... That was cool to me. Which, if anyone likes horror video games, be sure to check out those video games. First one is called 5 Days a Stranger. The second one is 7 Days a Skeptic. The third one is Trilby's Notes, I think. Then the fourth one is... What was it? 5 Days a Stranger, 7 Days a Skeptic, 6 Days... It's something like the other titles. They're all of the Chizo Mythos series by the end of it, though. I'm pretty sure he just came up with Chizo in, like, Trilby's Notes and then applied it afterwards to the other games before it. I don't know. That's something I should have watched for Halloween, is some of the old Let's Plays of those games. I always loved watching people play through those games in the early 2010s. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, let's see here. Huh. Let's see. I don't remember that. Oh. Apparently, if it's, Dumbo, if what you are talking about if it is this image from Gravity Falls, a Slender Man. That is apparently a hoax, just so you know. That's not from the actual show, as far as I'm aware. But what I was thinking of... not that. Yeah, this is what I was thinking of for the Slender Man reference of Gravity Falls. Is that thing, which appears in one of the shorts of Gravity Falls. Very lanky and hides behind things when people are not looking at it. And then here is Cabadath, the proto Slender Man from before Slender Man was made up. He was the scary one to me. But he was never an urban legend, so he was never, like, in the public consciousness, really. For those that know of the stuff he's from, though, people know of him. I am going to switch this music that we have been playing forever. Let's see here. Hopefully this isn't going to be super loud or nothing. Well, we got a T-Mobile commercial, which I'm not going to listen to. Oh, that is a bit noisy. Let's go and modify the volume a bit. Hopefully this will be okay. Let's turn it down some more. Yeah, we'll just turn it down to here. That'll, no, maybe a tiny bit more up. Tiny bit more there. And we'll keep it like that. Just have a nice, peaceful rain type of track in the background. Just a day of talking about cryptids and aliens. All damn spirits and stuff. Well, Shadow, I do hope everything is going alright enough for you. It's always rough being on the lookout for employment and all that. For me, no matter what state I'm in, I always gotta just keep making stuff here. And it seems that the people working on the outside of the building are gone by this point. I have not seen them in at least half an hour. I don't know if they'll end up doing that, Dumbo. I'm pretty sure that with how long, if they're out there, they've been minding themselves, they'll probably just keep doing what they've been doing, is my guess. That would be thinking of cryptids as like one species, which is... It doesn't feel like how varied they are, they would all have a similar goal for each of them when it comes to, like, humanity and stuff. There's absolutely stuff in the ocean that we have not, like, had common knowledge of, though. If I remember right, there was findings, I forget when it was, but it was a shark that was, like, tagged. And they were, like, keeping track of where it was. And years later, they found the tag washed up on shore without the shark. And when they, like, checked the data on it of where the location had been for, like, the shark it was attached to, it ended up getting, like, disconnected from it when the shark got, like, sucked down, like, hundreds of feet, like, immediately faster than any shark could swim. So, it seems like there must be things, like, just really, really deep in the ocean that people don't ever see. Well, the ocean is scary to think about at times. But I'd imagine once humanity, if they ever give the effort, gets the entire ocean mapped out and everything, it will become a lot less scary to think about. Why did this happen? You're all closed up. Why are you filling in everything? Oh, okay. This is on the wrong layer. There we go. That's better. Yeah. Come for the comics, stay for the horror story, folks. I guess this is sort of a continued on Halloween stream from the previous month with all the cryptid talk that is going on today. Halloween, I was so tired because for some reason I could not sleep the night before. So I just got on the computer and decided that I would make a little Halloween picture for that day. I did this, like, the night that was turning into Halloween. So, like, in the hours that I could not sleep, I just put this together. Yeah. I do have a version of that without the Happy Halloween in front of it. But that kinda doesn't feel right to have that without the Happy Halloween with the day that I was posting it on. Oh, there's definitely giant stuff deep down in the ocean, Dumbo. There's, they did finally see the colossal squid within the last decade, which people always figured had to, like, exist and stuff with all the stories over the centuries and how how there's evidence of them on, like, whales that get attacked by them. They're just super far down. Which some people think that larger animals that were talked about in ancient times are still around. They've just gone so far deep into the ocean that you never see them. Because that is what animals will do if there is more traffic in their area, if they live in the ocean, is many times animals will descend to lower depths to get away from all the commotion that's going on where they would normally reside. Well, that's a theory for where some of those creatures might have gone. Yeah, it's an aqua theory. Yeah, I was waiting to see if someone would say that, Shadow. A shadow theory. Yeah, we're doing a lot of theory talk on here today. A lot of creepy story sharing. Yeah, if you got the option to get away from people, going down is always a way that you can attempt to do that. But the real mysteries are when we get to colonizing Mars and seeing what all is up there. All the abandoned structures that all the governments will keep hidden from us. It's to store all the Martian water. Why are you doing this? Am I doing this on the wrong layer again? Yes, I am. Okay. Chop that out. Paste it here. That is wrong. I did not... Yaro. I did all of that on the wrong layer. That's not good. It's not that big of a deal. I'll just manually select this. Because I was doing it on the layer by accident that I did the whites on for the panel lines. So... I'll just do this. Chop that out. Not that. This. Then paste it there. Okay, we'll work with this. There we go. That's good enough for now. And there is giant ocean life in the comics here. If you, actually, there is kind of an example of it in, like, I think the first page of the first comic that deals with the tournaments. Let me see if I can find that. It's not like gigantic, but it is a bit of a imposing aquatic life that's implied. Yeah, here it is. We go over here, then here. Yeah, this is the first page of comic number, I think, 12? It's, Fightful Horizons. And you can see here, as Doko and his friends are arriving at the, Tataki Fight Island, which is where the tournaments take place. That's the building, this is the tournament area where the stadium is. And you don't ever really get a good look at this during the tournament, but there's like this whole mountain structure further back from the tournament area. And this is like where fighters will go to the top of to train and stuff like that. But you don't ever really get a good, like, I don't think I've ever drawn it during the current comic, but yeah, down here as they're coming in, you can see all the fish shadows, and then there's a giant fish shadow beneath even those. And that's just like a normal fish. That's not like a whale or anything. That's just how big some of the fish get in Doko's time period. Yeah. It's always nice going back and looking at the older pages. Oh yeah, you can even see, like, King Shadow, the head of the, King Shadow statue that is, like, on above this wall here. Oh yeah, that's just an example of the aquatic life of the stuff in Doku's world. Well, I've heard about Planet X Dumbo. I haven't like looked too much into it though. Planet X always just makes me think of like Godzilla with like Monster Zero and stuff, or Forbidden Planet, maybe Transformers, that type of stuff. I used to have a horror story that I intended to make a movie of called Ghost on Mars, which was dealt with sort of this entity that would take over bodies, and as the bodies would like go around trying to find a way off the planet, the bodies would decay and stuff as it controlled them. The ghost itself was very sort of just a pure black type of entity that would be, yeah, it'd be like this. And my intent was that it would be live action, but the ghost would be like animated. Then I guess it has like 2 eyes, and then it would just go in through someone's mouth or nose or ears and take over the inside of their body. That was a movie I had planned all throughout high school. But as with everything I do, I figure it'll never happen, so that is one of the things that hasn't happened. Yet. Let's get the Edwardian army together and make that movie a reality. Shadow can be the hero. Valure can be the old war veteran. Dumbo can be the scientist that wants to keep the artifact for research and jeopardizes everything. All the classic stereotypes. Oh, I'm sure we could make you into some sort of hero shadow. If not, we can just sacrifice you as one of the extras. I remember I had one character that would, like, rollerblade around everywhere. Always had, like, headphones on. I should look through some of my old sketchbooks again to see if I can find things on that. Those sketchbooks would be like over... Huh. Let's see, that would be back in like 2006 or 7. So yeah, that'd be like... over... maybe 17 years ago that I had things of that drawn up. Well, if Shadow's not wanting to be the hero Dumbo, we can always open up that slot for you. Although the main thing I always focused on my horror endeavors would be Final Evolution. That is the horror game, or the horror game series I still intend to create at some point. Go. Let's go over here. Not that. Not that. Oh. There it is. Okay. Yeah, this is the main thing, the main horror title I intend to create. That'd be the hero. Guy who thinks he is Frederick Rosaldo because of the name tag that he has. He just wakes up without any memory in the basement of this oil refinery that has all these creatures in it he's trying to survive against and get out of. There's all I ever really got done for, like, his sprite, I guess you would call it. Yeah, that's the thing I've spent the most time creating stuff for. Yeah, it'd be a series of 3 or 4 games. That's what it's intended to look like. Be a side-scroller, you'd hide behind things that you come across in the environment. Have weapons to defend yourself with, but typically it's hiding that you want to do to stay safe. Well, this is an image from back in high school, from the prequel story to it, as well as this. It's also one from the prequel story. Yeah. That's my main horror endeavors. Oh, that was wrong. Okay. Back into these endeavors now. I do have a couple more commissions I need to get done. Been trying to make room to do them. I intend to get them finished up today or tomorrow. Other than that, though, I think I'm getting to the end of the sales commissions from October. Although, Bowyer, I am going to do at least one for you of the sale price. Ding dong, bom, 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 bom. Now I'm out of... Well, I have bread here. I shouldn't just eat bread. Although, why not? Lord of the Rings. I've only read the first Lord of the Rings books. I read The Hobbit before I read any of the Lord of the Rings stuff, but the first Lord of the Rings books is the only Lord of the Rings I actually finished. I like The Hobbit more, the book. I have not seen a full movie of The Hobbit, but I do not care for some of the stuff I saw from it compared to the book. That being said, I do know the differences between the books and the movies of the Lord of the Rings. One movie I always thought would be cool to see a more book version of would be Jurassic Park. I read that when I was much younger. It was a lot scarier than the movie. It had quite a bit of differences to it. I remember Dr. Grant, the main character, actually likes kids in the book, which is like the exact opposite of his movie version. That's chaos theory. You see Doko about to get hit in the face? Well, he could get hit in the face, and the blood could come out of the side of his mouth, but blood could also come out of his nose. That's chaos theory. That was always such a ridiculous thing to me, is like, chaos theory is basically just a fancy way of saying anything can happen. That was always just kinda dumb to me. Yeah, Jeff Goldblum's a fun guy, but Ian Malcolm is probably purposefully quite a bit full of himself. I did like Michael Crichton's stories, although his best story to me was always Andromeda Strain. That was like the most scientific of them. Felt like it had the most actual thought put into the workings of it. Because by comparison, Jurassic Park is more just kind of Indiana Jones with some sort of kinda science in it to kinda make it work. And then something like Sphere is basically just magic. But Andromeda Strain is where I feel he always was at his best in the science fiction story making category. And over half the audience will have no idea who Michael Crichton even is. That's okay. It's just Edward's ramblings and thoughts in these videos. Yes, a rather paltry showing from Stephen King in this novel. Getting a bit Simpsons comic nerd critic. Yeah, I know that the comic book nerd guy in The Simpsons is meant to be sort of lame and everything. But really, he kind of is living the dream in ways. Where he is he's the guy that runs a comic book shop. He knows all the comic book stuff. He kinda just gets to chill out there all the time. Bobo. I've not seen The Simpsons in years. I saw some episodes on, the local pizza place's TV a couple of times. Probably about 7 years ago. But other than that, it's mainly just clips from, YouTube and Twitter that I see The Simpsons on. And these days, I just see all sorts of things that aren't even remotely in that territory of content. Yeah, I saw quite a bit of people talking about the Digital Circus when it came out. And after that, I've kind of been listening in the background to the guys that do the Life series for Hermitcraft as I work. And then, of course, Party Crashers whenever they make something. Always a fun time with them. I've not seen anything. Well, I've seen the ending of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, but other than that, I haven't seen anything of that. Oh, we are getting towards the end here. We got 2 more docos to do, as well as the pants for the claw down here. Oh, actually, we need to do the pants here. Oh, there are plenty of creepypastas of The Simpsons. One thing that, predates creepypastas, but that people consider a creepypasta now, is the Tails doll. Which I remember being terrified of the Tails doll when I was younger. Before YouTube was around. I would hear stories about that all the time and was, scared to death of it. And, I remember I went to bed with a butcher knife that I took from the kitchen and put under the pillow at one point. Because I didn't know what the Tails doll did exactly, but I knew that it killed you. And it was usually very gruesome sounding ways that it would kill you in the stories people talked about. And so when Sonic Gems Collection came out, and I finally got the chance to play Sonic R, I like, beat it, and then I remember for a while I was on and off about playing it once I beat it, because I knew how to do the Tails doll curse, and it was just always eating away at me. And so eventually I decided I'm going to find out what actually happens. And I did the curse. And I hated the curse, because you have to catch Super Sonic as the Tails doll, which is near impossible. You have to catch everybody as that thing in the tag mode. And then, once I finally did it, obviously nothing happened. And I kinda just wanted the curse to happen, so that I had some compensation for the hell that I had to go through to activate it. I can say I did it, but that's not really left a very empty feeling with that accomplishment. So I found out it wasn't real, at least. I'm still here, I'm alive, obviously, but at what cost? Yeah. You've all seen what all Edward will put himself through for accomplishing something. Resident Evil Gaiden can go to hell. That is not something I want to go through ever again. Those final boss battles are utterly atrocious. Like the rest of the game, though, just wish it didn't have those boss battles at the end. That is Edward's history with the Tails doll. After that, the Tails doll was never ever scary ever again. It just kinda made me angry whenever I looked at it. So that is how to beat your fear. Confront it and get pissed at it. Best creepypasta I've ever seen is, well, one of the best would be the NES Godzilla creepypasta. I remember reading that as it was being made, and then people made videos about it, and it has quite a bit more put into it than the typical creepypasta does. At first it feels almost kind of believable. And that helps as it gets into the more surreal parts of the story. It's also nice to see when a protagonist in a creepypasta doesn't just, like, get themselves killed and stuff. Yeah, Doko is getting quite a bit battered up here. I was actually going to have another page, like, between 85 and this page, but it ended up basically just being the same thing of Doko getting beat up and everything, so I just ended up making it one thing. just one page of that. Okay, this is on the wrong layer. There we go. Keep mixing up the layers during this session. Not that it's going to be anything anyone's gonna notice after. Just kind of annoying. Yeah, I chopped out a page, but it's basically gotten us... It basically just ended at the same point that the page before it did, so... It's pretty much just a filler page, was all that seemed to be, from my perspective. When I was originally sketching out the comic pages, there's some things that it starts out as just ideas that I'm doing, like, I'll do a panel here, or I won't even do panels, I'll just, like, they're over here, and that'll lead into this area. This'll be one big one here. And then it's just sort of tossing around ideas is all at that phase for how the layout of the page is going to be and what all is going to happen in it. I rarely ever get rid of a page, though. That is a big waste of resources to just scrap an entire piece of paper. But I can always make use of it later, just erase the light sketching on it. No. Okay. And after this, we only got one Doko left. Then I'll get off. I'll get done with the next panel, then I'll get off and get something to eat. And Dumbo can enjoy his roast. And you all can enjoy whatever other foods you are going to be having today. What should I make after this? Kind of drained on energy. So I'll probably make a pizza. Just heat one up. I still got my pecan milk over here. Very nice and foamy. I assume very nutritious. Just gotta make use of that machine that Mom sent me. Oh wow, you are really experienced in Resident Evil 7 by this point then, Dumbo. Having seen you play it before, you obviously have had time to get even better at it, I'm sure. Actually, let me see if let's see here. Resident Evil 7. Okay. Yeah, here's some concept art from Resident Evil 7. Let's see here. Come on. Open up. Open up. Here we go. Alright. This is ideas that they had for the family in Resident Evil 7. There's like, I think servant, father, son, daughter, mom, grandma? Yeah, grandma. Then there's just various different ideas they had. Pretty sure I can tell who that is supposed to be there. Didn't have a dog in the final version, though. And then... let's see... I believe this is concepts for Marguerite. Yeah. No, there's... yeah, and then this is the other part of that page. Always had sort of a bug plant thing going on. Yeah, I can always depend on Edward for the behind the scenes. Oh, but now we are on to the final panel of the page. I was surprised at how long it took me to beat some of the Resident Evil games that I did. And I'm sure that you were beating 7 quicker than I, like, beat 3 or 1. At least the first time that I played. Like, when I did Chris's playthrough last month, Jill's playthrough went quicker, because I'd already gone through as Chris. Resident Evil 3, though, that's basically like a game and a half in itself. So it kinda makes sense to have that be longer than some of the others. I think the first video of 1, though, was the longest. Yeah, I still sometimes refer to Resident Evil 3 as Resident Evil 1.9 and 2.1. As weird as the title is, it does fit it quite well, given its placement in the timeline. I did see someone on Project Umbrella the other day saying that Kazuhiro did say that Gravedigger was originally in Resident Evil Dash. And I'm pretty sure what he's talking about is the boss battle or giant worm that they had planned for Dash. Yeah, it'd have been this thing. It's one of the, that's stuff from the Saturn material for Resident Evil that never ended up getting made. Resident Evil Dash was going to be where you'd return to the mansion after the self-destruct sequence had destroyed everything. Its ruins would have been overtaken by, like, mutated plants and stuff. Wrong layer again. Take this down, put that up. There we go. But yeah, I think that's like... It's like on a stream that Kazuhiro mentions that on YouTube. About the grave digger idea coming from Dash. Yeah, we do have a tiny bit of blood speckles coming off here during the impact against the ground that Doko suffers. Doko is just getting knocked all around the arena. If you were told that you would be given $1 million if you fought the Claw, would you? Or if you were told you'd be given $1 million to fight Doko, would you? Personally, I would probably not take that deal. Although $1 million is quite nice. I think the most that you can, like the least that you can win in the lottery, if you win everything, is like $20 million. But that gets like chopped in half due to taxes, which is still a very nice amount of money. Oh, what I would do if I had the funding. Oh, we're almost done here. Just got these last two boot components of Doko's suit to blacken up. Yeah, comics always lend themselves to allowing you to do more than cartoons, because there's usually a lot less you have to go through corporate-wise to appeal to any standards that are in place and stuff. You do have indie people making stuff on YouTube animation-wise, but even then, a lot of ideals are having it be more kid-friendly than some properties would probably be more geared towards if that wasn't the norm. This last boot should be all that we need to do for this page. Okay. Got that. Come on. Come on. Get it right. There we go. And there we go. Okay. I think that should just about do it. So, alright. Alright, I think we got all the blacks filled in for what I'm going to fill in on screen. Which is pretty much most of it. Just need to do, like, people in the stands up here off screen and over here and all that. So, we are finished. Here is the completed page. It's, got Doko throwing a punch. He misses, but then he jumps in the air and smashes his fist into the claw's face. Very painful. But then, as Doko lands here, the claw, spinning around, gets his leg ready to throw right back at Doko's face. And that spins Doko around, which leaves him to be bashed in the face by the elbow of the claw and get launched from the floor back into the air towards the outside of the arena. And that is what will lead into the next page. But I think that is all that we needed to do here. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Oh, indie stuff is always way more of anything than, like, actual big name stuff is, Dumbo. Don't have to go through any of the hoops and hassles that the corporations put you through. Yeah, this is page 86 of the comic of Heroes and Legends that I have been working on. And I think this'll just about do it. I'm hungry, so I'm going to go get something to eat. But I thank you all for tuning in and joining me for the fun and creation process here. I guess I'll see you all later. Bye-bye for now, everyone. Enjoy your meals and games and whatnot.